perspective, yeah, I was brought up and I've lived here most of my life really. My parents bought a farm in the 60s and they've kind of lived here ever since. And when I left art college, I'd kind of started doing up this little bit of the barns up here. There's like a little place to be. And I came back from art college with my then girlfriend and we started like doing stuff here. And Bindi went on a permaculture course. I ended up making my yurt with her, and kind of like brought in a transition from art to more sustainable inclinations, I suppose. It was kind of like, you know, we have catalysts in our lives. That was like a catalyst point for me when I made the yurt, I suppose. Then a couple of other friends from art college, they came and lived here as well, Dominic and Richie, and they kind of got involved and we all started like creating art and studio practice, I suppose, as artists in these spaces, which were just old sheds and barns. And then we decided that we should maybe put on some exhibitions, because it's like, when you've just left college, where can you show your work? It's quite hard to show your work. And so we decided we'd put on an exhibition here. And that kind of like brought in more artists in residence for like a couple of months in the summer, and then we sort of opened it and got a shop in Cowbridge for a month and put art in that, and integrated like established artists and kind of did this sort of splashy art thing called the Gateway, and it had different artworks kind of running around the forest, sculpture and paintings and ceramics and craft work in the gallery here, and installation in the big barn. And that kind of then, we carried on working, and a few other people, our friend Dave from Hereford, he came to join us, and Dave Hasty, and we kind of started carrying on making work together, and then we realised that actually these buildings needed a bit of doing up, and we started to get little bits of funding in. One of the councillors came from the Vale and said, "What is it that would keep you going?" We said, "Oh, it cost us £4,000, you know." And he read the cheque then and there, and gave it to us. It was sort of like great times actually. And so we started doing up the barn, the studio barn out there, and cut the trees from the forest and planked them all up and put them on the barn. I remember spending Christmas Day, it was 1999 I think, like screwing the boards in on the barn. It was great. Good to spend Christmas. And while this was going on, the permaculture garden started to sort of like start happening a bit more. But you can see it kind of was all come from an arts background really, not so much from a sustainable permaculture influence, but that sort of started to kind of emerge. And then Chris, who's here, he really kind of like has put a lot of energy into that, and Simon and Jasmine, who are up at the Lamos project, they kind of put a lot of energy into the permaculture side of things. And then all the, I suppose, renewable energy things started going on, and the community kind of grew, and then we all started having babies. And there was like a few years of just everyone having babies, and then we had 5 babies born. Luca, Tim's son, was born up there in that room there. My daughter Brandon was born in a railway carriage. Ayla was born in a yurt across the way there. Cosmo and Elfie. The day Cosmo was due, Simon and Jasmine built a roundhouse, straw bale roundhouse, deep in the woods. Really amazing roundhouse. Underfloor heating, straw bale walls, reciprocal roof. Right, it was amazing. She didn't have a reciprocal roof, but it was really beautiful. And it burned down on her due date, and she ran out naked. It's like kind of like, you know, we had lots of, you know, the fire stuff going on, I guess. My yurt has since burnt down. Recently had 2 more yurts. Like it's and then we put on some more art shows, and the place kind of started, you know, doing more stuff. quite chaotic way. There's a lot of working, education stuff, workshops, this kind of thing, specific sort of projects, I suppose. Quite struggled with funding and things like that because we're in the Vale and it's quite an affluent area. It's quite hard to get funding in. Everyone's pretty skinned. But then we managed to get some funding to put a path through the woods, the disabled access track, and that was like really big stuff because before that it was just mud. We're on clay soils, That was just like mud everywhere, and that really helped kind of allow people to kind of walk through the woods without getting stuck and then we put on a big show in 2006 and it had lots of seminars and all this kind of thing going on, and it just at the same time, like all our relationships just flew up and the whole place melted. We all split up with our boyfriends and girlfriends, and other girlfriends and boyfriends started sleeping with each other and changes, and, and the whole
social history of Coed Hills.
Yeah, the whole place just melted, and we've kind of individually been in recovery since, I suppose, from all that experience, and then over the last few years it's been very much about, the last year has been about kind of big gatherings happening at Celtic seasonal events. The Celtic seasonal events kind of fed in from the sort of festival energetic, and they've been amazing. But that's kind of almost reached a sort of, not an end, but that's gentling off at the moment, isn't it? It's kind of calming down from that. But there was lots of people, hundreds of people holding hands around the stone circle at solstice. That was beautiful. And now, where is it now? Where is it now, guys? We're kind of like going through another transition stage because we went up in numbers, a lot of people here, and now it's kind of like we've got to like.
Feels like what's happening is there's a grounding and an actual focusing in on specific projects and trying to planting the forest garden, looking at how we produce our food, how we kind of after all of the expansion of before kind of looking after our own house first and getting all of that in order, which feels like it's really happening, which is great.
It's really good.
Yeah.
So you just recently started running courses and stuff then?
Well, they've kind of like been going on and off throughout the time, but actually getting like it's almost like that sort of desire for it to kind of be a community and be real and have people living their lives at the same time as being a visitor centre where people come and interact with. It's a really hard mix, and it's almost impossible unless you've got like really sorted individual spaces and people really feel like connected. And we've also got this issue of land ownership because it's my father's land, so that's like that has quite a heaviness in terms of like how to integrate, where he's come from. He wasn't a 60s hippie. He's come from like a different world, and, like how to kind of engage with that. And the local villages, they're not, we're not in West Wales here. It's got kind of quite a commuter energy to it, and it's like how to sort of journey along this path that has got quite a lot of. Well, it's got its trials and tribulations, I suppose, with it, and so allowing ourselves just to be ourselves is quite hard. But at the end of the day, that's all we can be. And if people don't understand that, then they don't understand that. So
do you want more people to come and join the community, or what's the sort of deal with growing?
The bottom line at the moment is there isn't really enough spaces. Over the last 18 months, we've had a bit of an experiment with putting the numbers up to see if that would sort of like. Because it just was on the flow, it's like on the flow, people were just coming in and it's like, let's go with this. But it's really hard, all the facilities have to kind of go up with the numbers of people we've got here, Numbers of toilets.
How much land is there in total?
All these kind of things, it's very hard to, you've got to have the facilities, and it hasn't quite being able to meet that, which that juggle is very hard.
And how big is the land, roughly?
It's 180 acres.